The CBS 42 Storm Team. This is a severe weather alert.
I'm Storm Team Meteorologist Dave Nussbaum. We continue tracking a storm here that is now a new tornado warning down here in Chilton County, headed to Coosa County right now. This is the storm we're watching. It's starting to get that unique shape to it here with a hook echo showing up. We've been watching the storm here closely for the last 30 minutes, and it's just been producing significantly large hail, heavy rain, but now it's starting to tap into the warm, humid air and beginning to rotate. And this is now where we have the new tornado warning here in effect, and that goes until 10 o'clock tonight. So here is our storm here. Again, strong winds aloft helping to make this curve around, and you can see here on the velocity product though we are seeing that rotation starting to show up quite a bit there this hour, and it's going to continue to get potentially here even stronger. This is that southern storm, nothing really blocking it right now from continuing to get stronger, so unfortunately we'll continue to watch this one here very, very closely moving forward right now. But you can see it does have that shape, that flanking going around there as well, and that's helping to produce this potential here for a dead tornado. So Dollar area got 9 minutes until it gets to your area there. Richville around 11 minutes, Lisle 13 minutes, Bentleyville 20 minutes, Rockford around 20, Cottage Grove 23, Hanover about 25 minutes here. So be watching this storm very, very closely. It's continuing to get better organized here, starting to show more of that rotation, and unfortunately now it does have that tornado warning till 10 o'clock with it here. So we still have a severe thunderstorm warning for the storm itself, but now we have the tornado warning that's come out from the Weather Service here, and continuing to show that it does have that chance of producing a tornado at this hour here. Again, looking at the latest velocity, you're starting to see the red and green coming together here. Red's going away from the radar, green going toward counterclockwise circulation, and at this point we haven't seen any. Well, there we go, Griffin. TDS showing up right now with it. So that did not take long at all. This storm has ramped up very, very quickly. Just a scan ago, nothing was showing up. Now we are seeing that here at this time. So this storm is off now to the east of Clanton at this point. So we're still watching that and still looking at it potentially here at TDS, or tornado detection signature. Strong rotation has come on in, and you can see here with the reflectivity, that is where our tornado would currently be located here, about to cross over into Coosa County, so right around the Coosa River there. So we need to take shelter immediately with this one here. Looking at whether we do have potential for that, we'll continue watching this, but that would be right in through there is where we're continuing to watch. So right along County Road here, 478 it looks like there, County Road 485 too, if I'm reading those numbers right, 478, 485, 476, 545 as well. So going to continue to watch to see if this does start to get a little bit bigger with the new scan as it comes on in. But that is the area we'll be watching here. That lines up exactly where we're starting to see that rotation showing up here fairly stronger, as well as where we would have that potential with that debris ball forming here. So it didn't take long for this to do it, but we do have that storm here. It does have that hook echo shape to it here, right along County 480 right now. This is where we're watching this storm. It is kind of in a rural area, but continuing to show again the threat for possibility tornado. You can see right there as well too. This is where we're seeing that tornado detection. So we do now have a new tornado, again nighttime tornado now here. This is again away from Clanton. So Clanton, you're in the clear of this. You don't have to worry about it. It's already off to the east of I-65, about to cross out of Chilton County into Coosa County now. And so that still can see right along the river there. This is where we're going to continue to see again this storm moving on through, and this is our tornado. This is what we're watching for now as this continues to move off to the east fairly quickly. I think, Griffin, there's still about 60 miles per hour. These storms are moving very, very fast with this one. You can actually see some of the debris blowing off well ahead of it too as it gets lofted off, kind of pushing away from it. So part of that is what we're looking at here with this storm. Again, that storm is producing some very heavy rain and incredibly large hail, probably a 2-inch size hail here just north of this. Tennis ball size hail with this now being reported.
The storm was doing back in Chilton County. There's still probably some golf ball sized hail north of that area of rotation there. So classic supercell look here.
And what's kind of not good, and look, there's nothing else anywhere around it. So this is the only storm. Looks like it's going to be moving just south of Sylacauga and possibly coming just close to maybe north of Alexander City here in just a little bit. So we'll be watching that one.
Looks like it's crossing over Mitchell Lake right now.
That right there? Yeah. Okay,
that little southern, that little bit of the Coosa River there,
known a little wider.
Mitchell Lake there. This storm was incredibly powerful even back when it wasn't producing this tornado back in Chilton County.
Just a little bit ago.
Yeah, just a little bit ago. But thankfully, this is not going to be impacting Clanton. This is
no, this is away from Clanton. It's just about out of Chilton County now. So that's where we're watching that little tornado kind of popping up there. It may not be so little, actually. But this could be another one of those long-track tornadoes, potentially, with this one as well, too, based off of what we just saw. So if you're in the Rockford area, be aware you're in this tornado warning. You need to take shelter immediately with this one here. Again, the storm is moving very, very quickly here. I'll kind of do a little track here for you and show you that, again, looks like it's moving on in fairly quickly here. Let me go ahead and turn that one off and then get the updated one here. Still the Dollar area there, about 4 minutes, so you need to take shelter immediately if you live in Dollar. Lisle, about 9 minutes. Bentleyville there, about 15 minutes. Rockford, 15 minutes as well. Take shelter, lowest level of your home, again, away from windows. We've seen a number of the storms today that look very similar to this, that have produced tornadoes and fairly large tornadoes and produced significant damage from here just south of the Birmingham area, even further south than there, working their way through Columbiana area as well, and off to the east too. So this is just some of the areas we've seen earlier. Now this one looks like that could be one of those also. This continues to move on there fairly quickly, as you mentioned, about 60 some miles per hour, 60, 65. So now it's still kind of not moving all that much at the moment, but you can see here on the reflectivity, we're seeing that again, hook echo, that debris ball shape there, and they can see we're looking at the rotation. It is very strong rotation tied in with this. So this one's going to continue to be producing that tornado. At least we're seeing it on the Doppler radar. No ground truth to it quite yet, though, but with that in mind, we'll continue watching this one here. Again, just a little bit ago, there wasn't much anything to it, and then just started really ramping up here into the last, say, 10, 15 minutes or so. So we do have that tornado warning that goes till 10 o'clock. So we do have that one going for quite some time now, about another 48 minutes on that one. But that's the storm we're watching here. That would be the tornado right there. So again, kind of zooming on into that, we're giving you an idea of what we're talking about with this one. It looks like it's just crossing over that lake now, probably into Coosa County now. So if you're watching us out here, again, this is where you need to take shelter immediately. Again, take cover now here. This is likely to start at what could be a long-track tornado, just like we've seen the other ones do. So right now, Bluff Road area there, that is where the tornado is currently coming in right now here, just kind of crossing right over the river there at this point. And that's where the storm will continue to move as it goes into those regions. There's little neighborhoods around there, probably more camps and stuff around the lake and the river, still, again, producing. Here we have now that tornado moving on in. You can see on the radar, that is where we're talking about, right there with this one. County Road 1. So again, we're just going on into the county here with this one at the time. So there's the town of Dollar we were just talking about. That is where it's headed, right into your area. So Dollar, be careful. This is coming right to you. Definitely be aware of this and take your shelter immediately. Already heavy rain and some hail tied in with that Hillwood area. The storm is going to continue moving up your way as well. And as it continues to do so, we'll be continuing to watch this. Right now, still persistent tornado. Expected to continue with this one here across now going in from Chilton County on into Coosa County, and we'll continue watching this one as we go forward here, as really this is the only storm out there. It's the southernmost storm. This one is potential here to last a little longer. Not quite showing us much now with debris here, but nonetheless, though, that's still maybe still strong rotation tied in with the storm. So it may have dropped a tornado, kind of picked back up. Could easily do one of those cycle type things we've seen some of the storms doing earlier today too, as Griffin and I have been tracking all kinds of storms since about 11:30 this morning there with the storm. But definitely can see here where we're talking about with that kind of moving right over top of the water there, part of the Coosa River. So there's probably some camps, some nice homes out there. Unfortunately, we do have that storm with the tornado coming right into those areas. So you need to take shelter and take cover right now with this storm as it continues to move on there off to the northeast at a fairly good clip at this point. There you see here again, here's the bigger part of the thunderstorm. There's your hook echo, and look at the heavy rain and hail tied in with this. We're talking golf ball, tennis ball type size hail with this, so large hail with this thunderstorm. And as mentioned before, that is the only storm we have going on right now, nothing else locally to that. So with that in mind, that southern storm, that's where the best ingredients are coming together to produce the threat for some rotating thunderstorms, and so that we do have that there. Severe thunderstorms to the north, not expected to be any kind of tornadoes with it, maybe some straight line winds and some large hail and heavy rain. But this storm here is our strongest one so far, as we have here the only storm out there right now, but definitely one that is producing a tornado, and it continues to work its way toward the Rockford area now, and maybe even toward Goodwater. We'll see if it does hold together there. Already starting to see some pretty good rain coming on into your area, kind of the blow off of the storm. Because those winds are so strong, it's kind of pushing all the storm up that way. But you can see here, this is what we're talking about here right now with that tornado warning in effect until 10 o'clock this evening. A storm we're tracking right here. There's that debris ball. Again, is our debris being lofted in the air. Not quite as much, Griffin, as we saw a couple scans ago, which hopefully it's weakening, but definitely something we need to watch.
Yeah, I think the storm might be cycling a little bit, Dave.
Yeah.
We've seen that all too often today, where the updraft may lift back up a little bit, but there's certainly enough of an inflow notch there. This is still passing over the eastern side of Mitchell Lake, right there in the Coosa River.
Right here.
Right about there is where this tornado just passed over. Fortunately, as we mentioned, this is passing east of Clanton. I think the most significantly populated area that's in the vicinity is Rockford, and that's about right now it's about 12 miles west of Rockford. But if it continues on that track, moving east northeast, I think at last check it was moving at around 65 miles an hour. It's moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
So if you're
Rockford, you be careful. You're in the path of that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead. We'll go ahead and put a storm track on here with this one. But again, moving very, very fast here. You can see, whoop, it didn't quite take there. There we go. Again, Lisle, 4 minutes. It's right over top of the Dollar area now. Bentleyville at 10. Rockford, 11 minutes till it's in your neighborhood. So again, the storm could be clipping just through the Rockford area now. Cruiseville about 13. Hanover there around 14 minutes. Alexander City, if it again holds together, got 25 minutes to 28 minutes as it comes on into your area. So just be aware, this is again potential here. The BTI number already 7.1, so that's pretty significant. But with that storm there, again, here's the new update. We'll go ahead and get that one for you. Again, Lisle 4 minutes, Bentleyville 11 minutes, Rockford there coming in at about 11 minutes as well. So do be prepared for this to come your way, possibly all the way toward Alexander City, about 27 minutes away from being in your area there. And again, this is all because we're watching this. The debris still showing up here with that tornado as it continues to move on in. It'll still bring us the chance of possibly getting stronger. We'll see if this does go through one of those cycles that we've seen some of the storms do earlier today as the storms move on through the area. Our first long track supercell we had probably about 5 or 6 tornadoes with it, as it had a tornado a weekend, had a tornado a weekend. That pattern went on. The second one, of course, was the biggest one, and that one was a tornado on the ground for potentially over 100 miles. One tornado, a very large, wide tornado with that one. So here's our one that we have now. We'll continue watching that one for you as well. But it looks like, at least at this point, not showing as much here on the debris tracker here, indicator, which is good news. Still have that rotation tied in with it. So this is not gone yet. This is still a tornadic type storm. You can see there's our rotator actually indicator just popping in now with this as well. So we're starting to see more of that. And you can see here, we still have the reflectivity showing that. There's our inflow notch we're just talking about. You look for that, and this is where your tornado would be located here. And going back to the debris tracker here, that is where we're talking, right into that location there, as it moves right over top of that lake. As you can see here, still showing some debris. Just went through Dollar, so the Dollar area just was impacted here by this tornado, and it'll continue here marching over toward the Lisle area. So again, we'll kind of slide this over, and you can see where Lisle is located there. This is headed right toward your direction there. So you can see kind of what we're watching with this storm here. This is where our tornado would be here. There is Lisle right now, and it looks like it's heading right toward your direction there right now. Looks like Highway 55, 59 there. County roads definitely watching right through those areas. That's where we're talking about at this time. Griffin?
Yeah, Dave, we've been watching the lightning output with this storm as well. Excuse me. And it doesn't appear to be, quite as significant as what we saw when this storm was back in Chilton County, where we had around 200 lightning strikes in just a 15-minute span. But right now it's down to 70 lightning strikes. And I think that what's happening here is we may have like a new updraft that might be forming out ahead of this thing. So right back in here is where that possible tornado is, but you see this in front of it. This may be kind of a new updraft that's forming. So that may be a new area we'll have to watch with this storm as it continues tracking up to the northeast. But Rockford, just stay in that safe place a little bit longer. There's a storm that is in the immediate vicinity now. It's now less than 10 miles away, just to the west of you. middle of the night, and there's trees, and there's hills. Don't bother going outside to look at this thing. There's still a lot of lightning strikes out there, 69 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes with this particular storm. Yeah, that's certainly a lot. And And Dave, even if you look up there on the northeastern side, that looks like a little bit of a V-notch that we're seeing right there. You know, you've got, that's usually an indicator of a really powerful supercell, really powerful updraft that we have with this particular supercell, and it's moving really fast. The National Weather Service has it moving northeast at 70 miles an hour. These storms are absolutely booking it tonight. The low-level jets moving really quickly overhead. So another look at those arrival times for you. Cruiseville, northeast at 70 miles per hour. That means it's about 8 minutes away. Kellyton about 15 minutes away. Goodwater about 15 minutes from you as well. Bluff Springs, the farthest community away, within the immediate path of this storm, and that would be about 28 minutes away from you. So again, if you're watching us in especially Coosa County, where we have that warning in effect until 10 p.m., Bentleyville, Hanover, Rockford, you guys are in that tornado warning polygon, so now's the time. Go to your interior room, away from doors and windows. You can't have any mobile homes. You can't have anybody driving during this situation. Certainly enough to merit a potential tornado that could be down right now. So Dave, the outbreak continues. It's been a very long day, and this is the southernmost storm, so it appears to be, you know, sort of unimpeded by any other storms around it.
And I'm afraid to say this one may be lasting, maybe not necessarily this specific tornado, but the storm itself here moving forward. So, yeah, Rockford area there, Coosa County area, you're still watching this very, very closely. Still showing, again, the rotation tied in with the storm. Coming on in, you can see it's not quite as tight a rotation as it once was, so that's where Griffin was alluding to, the potentially the storm may be trying to redevelop here, maybe kind of jump ahead just a little bit. Still seeing the debris tracker showing that debris with that tornado right in through here. As we get a new scan coming in just a little bit, likely that might jump up a little bit or kind of go down a little if it's starting to weaken just a little bit, but may try to redevelop a little bit. And there's that new scan kind of showing up there. Again, not as intense. You don't have the blues right there, not this. Up here is what we're looking at. So that's kind of what we're watching. Still on the reflectivity, it's kind of being absorbed here. You got like that new updraft as we were talking about here, and that may try to weaken this, and this may try to take over. So Rockford, just be aware of this. Stay in your safe place as well too. Highway 231, you can see coming right down through there, and again right along that corridor. That's where the storm is going to be going and moving through. So need to be aware that this is something to be needing to watch very, very closely coming on in. But a confirmed tornado, at least with Doppler radar being reported, moving northeast fairly quickly here at this point. So still looking at that one in Coosa County. So the storm may be trying to do some undergoing a little bit some changing here at this point. We still have the velocity still showing again decent circulation tied in with this here, so that's why we're going to continue that tornado warning here, and our debris tracker still showing again where our tornado is located there. On the radar itself, again, it may have something new trying to form, but until we get something new popping up, still everyone needs to be in their safe places right now. Again, the Lyle area, it's right over top of you, headed toward Rockford right now. The storm continues here to be still very, very strong, showing that rotation, very heavy rain, likely some large hail also here to the north of it. And as that continues to fall, again, that could cause some flooding issues too with the heavy rain falling toward Goodwater right now. But Kellyton area here, Rockford area, still need to keep a very close eye on the storm as it continues to move off very quickly to the northeast here at about 60, 70 miles per hour at this point. So again, still going to watch for that rotation to continue to move on through those regions though, and that's where we're talking, right in through here. And then as we look at our debris tracker, again, that's what we're watching, not this blue, this little shape right here. It's still persistent, so we can't say, oh, nothing to worry about here. May not be as strong of a tornado, which, you know, okay, we'll take it. But still, those areas need to be watched very closely here with this storm continuing.
Dave, I would say that, you know, I'm sure the winds are howling in Rockford right now because of all that inflow that's feeding into these storms
right
just to the
it.
south of it. So, you know, even if this is probably, you know, hasn't quite made it to Rockford yet, you're just south of that updraft. So there's Rockford right there. You've got a ton of rich Gulf moisture feeding into this storm, and it's moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. So if you're, I mean, the approximate area of the tornado is still kind of west of Rockford over here, about 5-10 miles, less than about 5 miles west of town.
Lyle area is what it's over.
But yeah, I think Looks like the Weather Service is saying it's probably recycling a little bit. I agree that, you know, you've got kind of two different updrafts here. Farther back, farther to the west, let me circle this for you here. That is where the original tornado was, but out here is where you have another potential updraft that's developing. So it does look a little bit messier right now. It's kind of going through possibly this transitional phase, but regardless, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Either way, Rockford, you still need to be in your safe place for just a little bit longer. And same goes for places like Goodwater, Kellyton, further downstream for folks, even as far east as Alex City. This could be coming pretty close to Alex City, even though there's no warning in effect yet. But if you're in Alex City, you need to kind of have your guard up for just a little bit longer, because this storm will be crossing over 280 near Kellyton within the next 10 to 15 minutes, Dave.
Yeah, it really does. Just looking at the storms behind it back through Clanton, nothing to worry about with those right now, just heavy rain and hail. By all means, this is our stronger storm. We're starting to see some other storms kind of popping up showers just south of it, they're moving right into the storm, which sometimes that happens. This kind of fire up and they get kind of sucked in, if you will, to that storm. So it may be undergoing a little bit of some organization here, reorganization, I should say. And but still looking at the rotation there, it's not quite as big. It's more kind of broad now, which may be why it's trying to reorganize at this point. So we're not going to go away from it by any means. And you can see here that debris tracker is not showing too much up there at this hour. That is just kind of what we're looking at here. So again, in the Rockford area, you still need to be aware of this. Again, what debris we had is left kind of right here at this point, but still showing up here on the reflectivity. We have the thunderstorm. So here's the original part we were talking about. Here maybe this new part redeveloping here with some of the heavy rain and hail coming in. Here's Highway 231 right into Rockford. Is headed toward Kellyton area, so if you're watching us out there, be aware that this is coming your way. Regardless if it's going to be a tornadic type storm or not, it's still going to produce a threat for some very heavy rain and also some very strong winds at this point as well too. So still going to be continuing to keep an eye on this one here. The tornado warning still in effect with it. I think the Weather Service doesn't go till 10 o'clock, so it's 9:27 right now. Going to go through a couple radar scans here. Still seeing some of that rotation. It's not right close to each other like it once was, kind of more of a broad rotation to it. So with that in mind, that might be that recycling we're talking about as it goes through the next little while here. So still going to keep an eye on this one here as it continues to move through Coosa County. Again, Highway 231, Rockford area, stay in your safe place right now. That's the best thing you can do for us is we have the storm here. Look how big it is. It goes all the way to Goodwater right now. And again, Alexander City, still need to keep a close eye on that as we go forward here. But anywhere along Highway 231 here just north of Rockford, need to be aware of it. County Road 59, watch out for that. Bentleyville area here, you can see looks like the storm is going to be moving on in very close to you. You probably have some of the heavy rain and hail falling right now. Again, is that original circulation is back here. May trying to see up near Cruiseville to Rockford, something maybe new trying to form there along Highway 231 at this hour. So we'll be watching that one here. But State Route 22, Tyler Hill Road, County Road 18, County Road 95 as well, and 59 need to keep a close eye on this as it moves on in. Going ahead, looking at our debris tracker right now, still not seeing here with this that it's showing as much as it once did, which was up in here, not what you see down there. But as we look at the reflectivity here, that's the part of the storm we were watching. So maybe weakening a little bit, which would be great news. The rotation not quite as impressive with it. Still has some rotation. There's still very strong winds coming from the storm, whether it's going into it or coming out of the storm. That's all fueling that storm as well too.
Griffin, yep, Dave. This is it's certainly not as impressive as it once was back when it was over Lake Mitchell, but still kind of a close call for folks that are anywhere near Rockford or Kellyton to stay put for a little bit longer, wait for this storm to pass, because it's still a very severe situation, you know, for lack of a better word. So obviously the storm appears to be cycling a little bit. We've got two distinct updrafts here. We've got this one back on the backside. That was where the original tornado was. And then you've got this other one, which is just to the northeast of Rockford, that may be sort of redeveloping. But also you have these showers down here, which may be kind of impeding the inflow to that storm. So kind of acting as a block there from getting a really, truly rich, moist inflow, which supercells need to sustain themselves. Pulling up the Weather Service chat room here. Looks like Chilton County 911 has had damage reports along Cargyle Creek, tree down on at least one house there and some power lines down. So this storm began in Chilton County, but it's now fully entered into Coosa County.
Yeah, and just looking at that now on the map, kind of seeing how this works with the Coosa River kind of coming through here right by the Mitchell Lake areas we were talking about earlier, along Highway maybe around 28 coming on in. So those areas can't really find Cargyle Creek at this hour, but at this point, but still there's some areas, a lot of homes out there, some camps out there as well too. Just know that this storm did have a potential, or did have a tornado with it as well too. Still going to keep this tornado warning here for now. County Road, let's see, 481 and County Road 483. So 481, 483 there over on into Chilton County. That's where we do have some damage reported. So it looks like this did do something as it goes through, went through that area a little bit earlier. Right now, though, the storm has moved out of Chilton County into Coosa County, and it's still, again, maybe trying to go through some reorganization at this point. But can't say it's done with and not going to worry about it anymore. Just not seeing it show up. We had that tornado detection earlier with it, but at this point, Rockford area, it's kind of just about over top of you right now. So watch out there. Not seeing near as much lightning either. I think you alluded to that earlier, Griffin. Yep. Usually a sign the storm's weakening when you start getting rid of the lightning. When you start seeing a ramp up, that's something we definitely need to watch out for.
Yeah, Dave, you know, earlier when the storm was in Chilton County, you know, we had 150 to 200 lightning strikes per minute, or per every 15 minutes, and thankfully now that is not quite the case, and now we're at around 65 lightning strikes per minute. So tornado or not, it's still a ton of torrential rainfall happening right now in Goodwater. You can't discount the flooding threat. Obviously, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that there are many places across our viewing area that have had as much as 3 to 5 inches of rain since the day began. You see the biggest swath there of heavy rainfall all the way up to Gadsden there, closer to 4 inches in Etowah County, around 3.5 inches over towards Jefferson County. Thankfully, no active warnings, at least tornado warnings for that matter, farther up to the northeast. We're going to take a closer look at that Etowah County storm because obviously folks up there still dealing with a lot of heavy rain up towards Jacksonville and even Ohatchee, which was as you know, impacted by a very significant tornado earlier today. So that's unfortunate that as cleanup efforts continue, there's still a ton of torrential rainfall and intense lightning strikes up near Ohatchee, where regrettably 5 people died today up in Ohatchee. It's really sad to report that, but just goes to show you the gravity of the situation that we're dealing with and why we're still obviously very concerned with any more of these tornadoes that are developing. This next one in Coosa County, the one we're watching now. There's a live look from Gadsden now. Looks like there's storms that are in the vicinity. It looks like the main core of those storms are going to be passing down to the south of downtown Gadsden. Fortunately, no active warnings up there in Etowah County, but this storm that's down there in Coosa County still has that tornado warning with it. And Weather Service obviously not taking any chances today, as evidenced by all of these massive tornadoes that we've had today. Obviously, we had the really noteworthy tornado that impacted Centerville, a lot of Bibb County and Brent, and that continued all the way up into eastern Shelby County. Tracked over potentially as much as 85 miles, maybe close to 100 miles, and was on the ground for around an hour and a half. So that's why we just, it's not the day that you want to play around with situations like this. You got to take it seriously. I know it's been a very long day. We've been covering storms like this since before noon earlier today, but still the storms go on, and so do we. So again, this new tornado warning in effect for Coosa County. It's coming up on 280 now. If you're in Hatchet, Bradford, if you're in Kellyton, any of these places along 280, kind of west of Alex City, go ahead and head to that safe place and stay there for just a little bit longer and wait for this storm to pass. Bradford, County Road 111, Crewsville. Any of these places, it looks like we have 2 Crewsvilles on the map there. Apologize for that, but still a very dangerous storm happening now in Coosa County. Fortunately, however, our area of rotation certainly not as well defined. That's definitely good to see. Obviously, a lot of storms today have produced incredibly tight rotations, and we're just not seeing that with this Coosa County storm. That's definitely good news. So just keep your guard up a little bit longer if you're in Goodwater, Kellyton. Fortunately, if you're in Rockford, I think we can say with confidence now that the storm is fully past Rockford. Yeah, it's certainly cleared the area there, Dave.
And just a quick little update here for you. The tornado watch, check this out. It's been trimmed back quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
It does no longer include Birmingham area. So it's been Otaga-Bibb, Chilton, now Dallas, Hale, Jefferson, Lowndes County, Marengo, Montgomery, Shelby, Tuscaloosa County, all out of the tornado watch now. And it continues where the areas are still highlighted there in yellow, so that'll continue until pretty late, 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's going to go for still a while longer there for you. But nonetheless, though, some good news. The Birmingham area's severe threat is coming to an end. We're still watching this one, though, the storm as it goes through parts there of course, Coosa County, possibly impacting Tallapoosa area as well. We'll see how this one does play out, though, with this storm. Right now, though, again, looking at the latest radar data, you can see here, still have a pretty intense thunderstorm out there. The velocity product still shows some really weaker velocity, meaning weaker spin out there, so something to watch. But again, if you're watching us along Highway 280 there in Coosa County, over toward the Kellyton area, and even if you're watching us in Alexander City, you need to keep a close eye on this as well. Looks like it may be going just to the north of you, but Kellyton, definitely be prepared for this as it comes on into your area. So highway right now, County Road 40, beware that, County Road 62, Highway 280, of course, State Road 9, County Road 71 and 40. Those are both ones we're watching here now. So those are the ones we're keeping close eye on. Rockford area, again, you can come out of your safe place right now. The storm has moved past you, but good water area, some heavy rain, maybe some hail mixed in. Kellyton area, also looking at, again, the storm coming on into your area. Weather Service is continuing that tornado warning for now, as to see if the storms kind of go through a different cycle and try to form a tornado again. So far, that has not happened. It's weakened just a little bit there, but we're going to continue watching this as it goes through. That tornado warning does go into effect until 10 o'clock tonight. So nothing right now for Tallapoosa County here, but definitely continue to watch this one. Looks like they have just canceled that tornado warning now for, again, Coosa County. That's some good news. Basically, the reason for that is we're seeing this rotation not near as strong. We're not seeing that debris tracker showing anything either. But we did get reports of damage, though. Reports coming in from the over back here, back into parts of Chilton County, not too far there, right along the river here. Some roads there did report some trees down, power lines down, also some damage to homes out there. So we did likely have that tornado. We saw that debris signature show up there just in the far eastern part of Chilton County, crossed over there by the Mitchell Lake area there, and continuing to work its way into where it is now. Right now, though, just still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that one until 10 o'clock. So that still has a chance for now. Some winds of maybe 60 miles per hour tied in with it, but not necessarily a tornado with it anymore. And also some lightning, you can see there, showing back up, and also dealing with some heavy rain and hail tied in with this system. So we'll keep an eye on this one here, though. But right now, though, looks like this one has kind of started to wind down a little bit. Still has an interesting shape to it. Still has a chance to maybe try to redevelop back into as tornado with this storm. Right now, we're just not seeing that happening at this point. So that is some good news here. So we'll continue to watch this one here. And real quick, just want to show you what else is going on. A couple showers just to the south from Wetumpka to Alexander City, and points to the North Gadsden here. Very, very big thunderstorm. Nothing severe with, or rather, it isn't severe, rather, I should say, but could produce some very heavy rain, hail, and you can see a lot of lightning with this one back down toward Jacksonville at this time. So that tornado warning has now been canceled here. It is 9:38 our time now. Still going to be watching this one very closely for us here, but you can see up in Gadsden area, again, big thunderstorm here. Heavy rain, maybe some small hail mixed in, but we're not dealing with any kind of a tornado with that one, which is good. And a storm here that did have the tornado warning. Right now, though, things fortunately have starting to weaken a little bit, and we'll take it. But it looks like it did produce a tornado, so that would be another tornado for the day today. That's right as it crossed over the Coosa River back into parts of Chilton County. You do have reports of damage. I haven't gotten reports of anything here in Coosa County yet, but wouldn't be surprised if we had some also in the western part of the county. But basically what we're talking about now is heavy rain and hail. And still kind of looking at the velocity with this as well. Again, weak rotation with this, not looking like it once did, where we had some stronger rotation kind of ramping up and did help to produce that tornado. Griffin, anything else you can find?
Nope.
Any more reports coming in?
Yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. Fortunately, you know, that tornado warning no longer in effect for Coosa County. It was a potentially dangerous storm, but now it's still, you know, noteworthy. Good water, still dealing with a ton of lightning strikes and potentially some pea-sized hail, but fortunately, Weather Service deciding not to continue the tornado warning. So there's no immediate threat with this storm when it comes to a tornado, but obviously we've seen many times today that these storms can cycle, but that's just not happening yet. So thankfully, Dave, that's definitely some good news. And of course, that watch being expired for a large portion of the Birmingham metro is excellent news, because that means most of us along and west of I-65 can go to bed safely tonight without having to worry about it.
That's right. So again, that is the latest here right now. We'll have more updates coming up and a recap of the tornadoes throughout the day today here coming up at CBS News at CBS 42 here at 10 o'clock. But still, we'll keep an eye on this one. Still a severe threat for some heavy rain, or rather gusty winds out there, maybe 60 miles per hour, as well as also a lot of lightning here. So be aware of that one and some hail. We'll send you back to regular programming now. We're seeing about 20 minutes for CBS 42 News at 10 o'clock.
This has been a severe weather alert from the CBS 42 Storm Team.